I was standing on my porch that night, coffee in hand, when I heard this low, rolling rumble that didn't belong. At first I thought it was thunder, but the sky was clear. Then came the lights. Dozens of headlights weaving down my private dirt road like a glowing snake slithering straight toward my farmhouse. Within minutes they were in my yard, people leaning out of their cars, blasting music, shouting, laughing, waving, saying things like, "Can't wait for the party, man." And right then I knew exactly who did this. Karen, the self-appointed queen of the HOA, the woman who'd made it her life's mission to destroy mine. My name's Jake Turner. I own a 20-acre farm just outside Lakeside, a quiet town where everyone used to mind their own business until Karen moved in. She wasn't even technically my neighbor. Her HOA didn't have jurisdiction over my land. But from the moment she saw me unloading fence posts and livestock feed, she decided I didn't fit the community image. She hated everything about me. The smell of animals, the sound of my tractor, even the rooster crowing at dawn. For years, she filed complaints that went nowhere. When that failed, she started posting online calling me the menace farmer next door. I ignored her. But this was something else entirely. By the time I realized what was happening, cars were parking in my fields, people carrying coolers and folding chairs through my alfalfa like it was a festival ground. Someone was even setting up a portable grill. I shouted over the noise, trying to tell them they were trespassing, but they just smiled and said, "We saw the flyer. Free entry barbecue live music." My stomach dropped. Flyer. I asked one guy where he saw it. He said Facebook, man. Said Jake Turner's hosting a charity cookout. HOA approved. That's when my blood turned cold. I grabbed my flashlight and stormed down the driveway, boots kicking up dust. And there she was, Karen, standing near the edge of the dirt road, arms folded, pastel sweater glowing under my floodlights, smirking like she was watching a show she'd written herself. "What the hell is this, Karen?" I snapped. "Oh, Jake," she said, feigning innocence. "People just showed up. Maybe they got the wrong address." Wrong address. My name is painted on the damn barn. She tilted her head. "Maybe you're just too popular." Behind me, someone revved their engine, spraying mud across my freshly painted gate. I could feel my jaw clench. I slammed the latch, wrapped the chain, and locked the gate shut. Enough. If they wanted to party, they could do it outside. Then came the next blow. A young woman said she'd paid $10 for entry. I froze. "Paid?" "Yeah," she said. Some HOA lady was selling tickets online. Said it was a fundraiser. That's when Karen's smug little grin twitched. I raised my phone and hit record. Smile for my lawyer, Karen. Within minutes, flashing red and blue lights painted the fields. The cops arrived, confusion everywhere. Karen started shrieking. "He trapped everyone inside. He's unstable." I handed the officer my ID and said calmly, "Sir, this is private property. They were invited here under false pretenses." The cop looked around the torn grass, the flyers, the chaos, and nodded. He could see the truth. When the dust settled, the field looked like a war zone. Mud tracks, broken fences, crushed crops. Karen rolled down her car window before leaving and hissed, "Everyone's going to think you're the problem now." Then she sped off. And you know what? For a while she was right. By morning my phone blew up with posts. Farmer loses it at charity party. Local hero Karen tries to calm chaos. She twisted everything. I felt humiliated, powerless, like the walls were closing in. For a moment I even asked myself if I'd overreacted. Maybe I should have handled it differently. Maybe I really was the problem. That's what she wanted to make me doubt myself. But then my friend Tom, he's a lawyer, came over. He looked through the evidence, the fake flyers, the online posts. When he found proof that people had paid Karen for entry, he whistled low. "Jake," he said, "this isn't gossip anymore. It's wire fraud. She's gone from harassment to criminal." Something in me snapped back into place. I'd been patient for years trying to stay civil. But now it wasn't just about pride, it was about justice. Over the next few days, I gathered everything. Footage from my cameras, screenshots, witness statements. Karen thought she'd humiliated me, but what she didn't realize was that every lie she told left a trail. and I was following it. Then came round 2. Another weekend, another flood of headlights down my road. Same setup, smaller crowd. A redo party, the flyer said. Except this time I was ready. I'd installed industrial locks, motion lights, and set my phone to stream live video straight to the cloud. As soon as the first car rolled in, I hit the lights. The whole front field lit up like a stadium. "Welcome back, folks," I called out. "You're all on camera, so smile." People froze, confused. Then Karen showed up, pretending to be shocked. "Jake, what's going on? Are you okay?" "Same scam, different night," I said. "You might want to wave to the camera again." One man stepped forward, furious. "She sold me this ticket. I've got the messages right here." He showed the cops when they arrived. Reyes, the same officer from before, took one look and sighed. "Ma'am," he said, "we're going to need to talk downtown." Karen tried to spin it again, stuttering about misunderstandings and fake profiles, but the mask was slipping. For the first time, she looked scared. After that night, I thought maybe she'd back off. But no. The next morning, she doubled down online, created a page called Justice for Karen, accusing me of trapping innocent guests and lighting my own field on fire for sympathy. Yeah, someone had actually set off fireworks that night by accident, but she twisted even that. Watching her manipulate the narrative again almost broke me. I sat there at my kitchen table reading those comments, my hands shaking. But Tom told me something I'll never forget. Let her talk. The more she screams, the deeper she digs her own grave. And he was right. Days later, the police uncovered evidence that Karen had been running multiple scams through the HOA fake events. Fake fines, fake donations. She wasn't just trying to destroy me, she was funding herself. Then she crossed a line I didn't think even she'd cross. One afternoon, 2 county inspectors showed up saying they'd received a complaint that I was operating an unlicensed event venue. Filed by guess who? Karen Peterson, HOA president. I almost laughed in their faces, but instead I let them inspect. They found nothing. No dance floor, no ticket booth, no crowd. Just a tired farmer and his broken fences. When they left, I stood there in the dust and realized Karen didn't just want me embarrassed. She wanted me erased. That night I called Tom. "I'm done playing defense," I said. "It's time she faced consequences." So we filed for a restraining order. And while the paperwork crawled through the system, I fortified my property. New locks, new cameras, motion sensors. Even set up an automated message. "You are trespassing on private property. Law enforcement has been notified." It was petty psychological warfare, and it worked. 3 nights later, she showed up again. I saw her on the camera's flashlight in hand, 2 HOA volunteers behind her. They were inspecting my gate like they owned it. I turned on the floodlights. My recorded voice boomed, "You are trespassing." The volunteers screamed and bolted. Karen froze, caught in the glare. I called Reyes immediately. When he arrived, she tried to spin it again, said she was inspecting safety violations. Reyes just shook his head and told her flatly, "This community doesn't start here. It ends here." That line hit her hard. She left shaking. But the real turning point came a few days later when the county froze the HOA's accounts. Turns out she'd been funneling community improvement funds straight into her own account. Fraud, embezzlement, you name it. When the news hit, her face was all over local TV. HOA president, under investigation for fraud. I should have felt vindicated, but honestly I just felt empty. Years of chaos reduced to a headline. That night a rock hit my gate. Tied to it was a note. "This isn't over. You'll regret ruining me." I burned it without a word. But she wasn't done yet. Before her arrest, she'd set up a fake LLC using my name, transferring stolen HOA funds to make it look like I was laundering money. She wanted to drag me down with her. When the sheriff's office called, I thought it was over for me. But Tom moved fast, traced her IP-matched signatures, pulled every timestamp. We were ready when her lawsuit came. She actually sued me, claiming I'd stolen from the HOA. The day of the hearing, the courthouse was packed. Reporters, neighbors, everyone who'd ever watched our feud unfold. Karen walked in 10 minutes late, smiling like she was about to win an Oscar. The judge, a tall woman with silver hair, called the case. Karen launched into her speech about being a victim of harassment, about how I'd stolen funds and spread lies. Her voice trembled in all the right places. It was a performance she'd rehearsed her whole life. Then Tom stood up calm as ever and started laying out the evidence. One by one. The fake events, the bank records, the timestamps, and finally the photos from my field the night before, dozens of garbage bags full of shredded HOA documents she'd dumped there to frame me. You could feel the shift in the room. Karen's face drained of color. Her lawyer whispered frantically. The judge leaned forward. "Mrs. Peterson," she said, "you've created a mess of your own making and dragged this man through the mud to hide it." The gavel hit the desk. Case dismissed. Perjury added to her charges. Karen just sat there, hollow-eyed, no words left to twist. For the first time since this nightmare began, she looked small. Human. Outside the courthouse, the sunlight felt unreal, too bright, almost cruel. People clapped me on the back, congratulated me, but I barely heard them. All I could think about was how long I'd let her live rent-free in my head. When I got home, I locked my gate, same as always. The metal clicked shut with a sound that finally meant something different. Not fear, not anger, just closure. Weeks later, her house went up for auction. Out of curiosity, or maybe stubbornness, I bought it. Walked through those rooms she once ruled like a queen. The air smelled like lemon cleaner and dust. On the mantel sat a cracked photo of her smiling in front of the HOA office. For a second, I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. Then I locked the door, handed the keys to Tom, and told him to sell it. The money went to the community fund she'd stolen from. That night I sat on my porch, the farm quiet again. The stars were out, the air cool, and the gate, my old enemy, my old friend, stood steady under the moonlight. For the first time in years, I didn't feel watched. I didn't feel angry, just free. Karen's gone now, out of town, out of power, out of people to control. The HOA she built fell apart, replaced by decent folks who just want peace. The funny thing is, her fake party was what destroyed her. The chaos she unleashed finally turned back on her. Sometimes I still catch myself listening for that rumble of engines down the road, but it never comes. Only the wind, the crickets, and the quiet hum of the farm. I used to think justice was about winning, but standing there at that gate, feeling the cool metal under my hand, I realized it's not about victory. It's about boundaries, knowing what's worth fighting for and what's worth letting go. Because sometimes the only way to keep peace is to lock the damn gate.